8 months ago, you bought a 6.5-inch TV at Walmart for $398. Looked incredible in the store. Box said 4K, HDR, smart features, the works. Today, a thin gray line runs down the right side of the screen. It wasn't there yesterday. You call support, hold music for 38 minutes. Then, a rep tells you it's physical damage and not covered even though the TV has never been touched, moved, or bumped. Here's what nobody told you at checkout. Not all TV brands fail at the same rate, and not all warranty departments actually honor what they promise. Some brands build a product that lasts a decade and back it up when something goes wrong. Others build a product designed to survive exactly as long as the return window and then disappear the moment you need help. That gap is the difference between a TV you forget about because it just works, and a TV that turns into a multi-hour customer service nightmare 18 months after you bought it. So today, we're ranking the major TV brands by what actually happens after you take them home. Reliability data, warranty experiences, and the real complaints from owners who lived through it. Some of the results are exactly what you'd expect. A couple of them are going to surprise you, including one premium brand with a reputation it may not fully deserve anymore. Let's start at the bottom. Number 9, Westinghouse and Element, the bargain bin disasters. These two get lumped together because they operate the same way, licensed names slapped on the cheapest panels a contract manufacturer can produce. Westinghouse sold off its TV licensing rights years ago. The Westinghouse your grandparents trusted for appliances has nothing to do with the Westinghouse TVs sold today. Same story with Element, a name with no manufacturing history behind it, assembled by whoever wins the lowest bid that quarter. Consumer Reports has consistently rated both brands among the lowest in owner satisfaction in the budget TV category, citing high rates of early backlight failure and unreliable streaming app performance. The most common complaints across owner review platforms: backlights dying within the first 12 to 18 months, smart TV interfaces that freeze or crash repeatedly, and firmware that simply never gets updated after launch. The real-world consequence is brutal because of timing. These failures tend to show up between month 13 and month 20, conveniently just past the standard 1-year manufacturer warranty. By the time the screen goes dark or the apps stop loading, you're already on your own. One owner on the Walmart review page wrote, "Westinghouse 50-inch lasted 11 months before half the screen went dark. Called support, got transferred 3 times. Nobody could help. Ended up dragging it to the curb. Never again." Bottom line, avoid Westinghouse and Element entirely. Even if one is $40 cheaper at checkout, the math doesn't work once you account for how often these fail. But cheap isn't always the problem. Sometimes the failure shows up on a brand you'd never expect to disappoint you. Number 8, Vizio. The brand that used to be trusted. Vizio built a reputation in the 2010s as the smart value pick, good picture, reasonable price, solid enough quality. That reputation hasn't aged well. Consumer Reports' owner satisfaction surveys have placed Vizio in the bottom half of mainstream TV brands in recent years, with recurring complaints centered on panel uniformity and software stability. Arting's long-term testing has flagged inconsistent backlight performance across multiple Vizio model years, particularly in their mid-range M-Series and V-Series lines. The real ownership problem with Vizio right now is uneven panel aging. Some owners report years of trouble-free use. Others report uneven backlight dimming and color shift appearing well before the TV is even 3 years old. And because Vizio's panel sourcing varies by model year and batch, there's no reliable way to know in advance which experience you're going to get. One Reddit user in the home theater forum summed it up. Bought a Vizio M-Series for $699. 2 years in, half the screen is noticeably darker than the other half. Support said it's normal wear and tear. Never buying Vizio again. That inconsistency is the real issue, not that every Vizio TV fails, but that you genuinely cannot predict whether yours will. Bottom line, Vizio is no longer the safe value pick it once was. If you're considering one, stick to their flagship Quantum line and skip the budget tiers entirely. So if a once trusted name has slipped this far, what does that mean for the brands selling enormous TVs at rock-bottom prices right now? Number 7. Insignia and Amazon Fire TV branded sets. The store brand gamble. These are the in-house brands sold almost exclusively through Best Buy, Insignia, and Amazon Fire TV Edition. They're priced to move volume, and the build quality reflects that priority. Both brands use rotating manufacturing partners depending on the model and year, which means reliability is genuinely inconsistent from one unit to the next, even within the same model line. Consumer Reports has historically rated both brands in the lower tier for predicted reliability, and owner reviews on Best Buy and Amazon's own platforms show a wide spread between 5-star works great reviews and 1-star died after a year reviews on the exact same model number. The consequence here isn't that these TVs are guaranteed to fail, it's that you're buying a genuine unknown. Best Buy's return and exchange policy on Insignia sets is reasonably generous within the first 15 days, which helps if a problem shows up immediately. The risk is what happens at month 10, when a panel issue appears and you're dealing with a brand that has limited, dedicated customer support infrastructure of its own. One Amazon reviewer wrote, "Insignia 5.5-inch worked perfectly for 14 months. Then one day, no power." Best Buy said it's outside the return window and pointed me to the manufacturer warranty, which is basically just Best Buy's own service department with long hold times. Bottom line, Insignia and Fire TV Edition sets are acceptable for a secondary room or guest bedroom where the stakes are low. For a primary living room TV, the inconsistency is too much of a gamble. Now, here's where it gets interesting because the next two brands sell some of the most popular TVs in America, and they split sharply once you look past the price tag. Number 6. TCL. Good engineering, inconsistent execution at scale. TCL has earned real respect in the TV industry for packing genuinely strong picture quality into budget price points. Their 6 Series and QM Series mini LED lines have won praise from Artings for color accuracy and contrast that rivals TVs costing twice as much. Here's the catch. Consumer Reports rates TCL's predicted reliability as fair, meaning a noticeably higher projected failure rate over 5 years compared to Sony or LG. The pattern in owner complaints is specific. Backlight zone failures and mini LED clouding issues that tend to appear in the 2nd and 3rd year of ownership, particularly on their larger screen models. The real-world consequence is timing again. TCL's standard warranty is 1 year. Most of the reported failures show up well after that. So, when something goes wrong, you're paying for a repair out of pocket, and TCL's customer service has a reputation confirmed across multiple owner forums for slow response times and limited parts availability for older models. One owner on the Best Buy review page described it this way: TCL 6.5-inch 6 Series was incredible for the first 18 months. Then I started getting dim zones in the lower right corner during dark scenes. Contacted support, took 3 weeks just to get a response, and the part wasn't even in stock. Bottom line, TCL is a legitimately good picture quality option if you're comfortable accepting somewhat higher long-term risk. Most buyers won't have a problem. If you do, expect a slow and frustrating process to get it resolved. So, if TCL's risk is about what happens after year 2, what happens with the brand that's now outselling almost everyone in America? Number 5. Hisense. The fastest-growing brand with the most uneven reputation. Hisense has aggressively expanded in the US market, and their mini LED ULED lines have genuinely impressed reviewers on picture quality per dollar. The U8 series, in particular, gets strong marks from Artings for brightness and contrast performance. But Consumer Reports reliability data tells a more complicated story. Hisense's projected failure rate over 5 years sits noticeably higher than premium brands like Sony, a gap driven primarily by backlight and panel issues that tend to surface in the 18 to 30-month range, right as the standard 1-year warranty becomes a distant memory. This is where the math really matters. A Hisense 7.5-inch U8N sells for around $1,100. Genuinely impressive for the picture quality you get. But if you're one of the unlucky owners who hits a backlight failure at month 22, you're looking at a repair quote that can run $400 to $500. On an $1,100 TV, that's not a repair decision. That's a "why am I even considering this" decision. One owner on the Consumer Affairs review site put it bluntly, Hisense U8 was stunning out of the box. 9 months in, half the backlight zones stopped working. Repair quote came back at $450 more than a third of what I paid for the TV. Customer service offered a 20% discount on a replacement instead of fixing it. Bottom line, Hisense gives you genuinely excellent picture quality for the price, but you're trading that value for meaningfully higher long-term risk. If you buy Hisense, set aside the savings in case you need it for a repair later because the odds of needing it are real. That brings us to the brand everyone assumes is automatically safe because of where it sits on the shelf. It isn't quite that simple. Number 4. Samsung. Excellent at the top, inconsistent in the middle. Samsung is the best-selling TV brand in America, and their flagship QLED and Neo QLED lines genuinely earn that position. The QN90 and QN85 series consistently score well in RTING's testing for brightness, color volume, and gaming performance. But Samsung's reliability data isn't uniform across their entire lineup. Consumer Reports' owner satisfaction surveys show Samsung performing well overall, but with a noticeable gap between their premium Neo QLED tier and their entry-level Q60 and Q70 lines, which use simpler edge-lit backlighting that's more prone to uniformity problems showing up over time. The recurring complaint that surfaces most often across owner forums isn't even hardware, it's software. Samsung's Tizen operating system has a documented pattern of slowing down and becoming less stable 2 to 3 years into ownership, as the TV's processor struggles to keep up with updated app requirements. Multiple owners report having to factory reset their Samsung TVs annually just to keep streaming apps from freezing. One owner on the Samsung community forum wrote, "Bought the Q70 3 years ago. The hardware is fine. The Tizen interface has become almost unusable. Apps take 15 seconds to open. Netflix crashes constantly. I bought a $50 Roku stick just to make the TV usable again. I paid $800 for a smart TV, and I'm using a stick." Bottom line, if you're buying Samsung, spend the extra money for their Neo QLED tier rather than the entry-level Q series. The backlight technology and overall build quality are meaningfully better, and it's worth the premium. Which brings us to the 2 brands that consistently land at the top, and one of them might surprise you with exactly how far ahead it actually is. Number 3. LG. The OLED standard bearer, with one catch. LG essentially built the consumer OLED category, and their C-Series and G-Series remain the benchmark that every other OLED brand gets measured against. RTINGS rates LG's OLED panels consistently at the top of their picture quality rankings, and Consumer Reports' reliability data places LG firmly in the upper tier of major brands. OLED technology itself contributes to this. Without a separate backlight layer, OLED panels eliminate the uniformity and clouding issues that plague LED and mini-LED TVs entirely. There's simply less that can go wrong in the way that LED panels go wrong. Here's the catch nobody mentions. LG's budget LED lineup sold under names like the UQ and UR series does not share the reputation of their OLED line. These entry-level sets use cheaper components and edge-lit backlighting, and owner reviews on Best Buy and Amazon show meaningfully more complaints about dim zones and software lag on these budget models. Compared to LG's OLED tier, one owner who bought both made the comparison directly on a Best Buy review. Have the LG C3 OLED in my living room, flawless for 2 years. Bought the LG UQ 7590 for the bedroom to save money. Picture is mediocre and the remote lags constantly. Same brand, completely different experience. Bottom line, If you're buying an LG, the OLED line is the genuinely safe bet. The C series and G series are industry-leading for both picture quality and long-term reliability. Just don't assume that reputation extends to their budget LED models, because it doesn't. That leaves one brand left, and the gap between it and everyone else might be bigger than you'd expect. Number 2, Sony. Reliable, but you're paying for it. Sony consistently posts the lowest projected failure rates among major TV brands in Consumer Reports reliability surveys, and the difference isn't marginal. It's a meaningfully wider gap than what separates most of the other brands on this list from each other. Part of this comes down to Sony's approach to component sourcing and quality control, which has remained more consistent across price tiers than most competitors. Even Sony's mid-range X90L series uses backlight and panel components that hold up noticeably better in RTING's longevity testing than comparably priced TVs from Hisense or TCL. And when something does go wrong, which happens far less often, Sony's customer service has a stronger reputation for actually resolving issues rather than deflecting them. Multiple owners across Reddit and Best Buy reviews describe Sony replacing defective panels under warranty without the runaround that's common with budget brands. The trade-off is obvious: you're paying more. A Sony X90L at 65 inches runs around $1,100 compared to roughly $700 for a similarly sized TCL or Hisense. That's a real premium, and for some buyers, it's not worth it for a TV that might get replaced in 5 years anyway, regardless of brand. One owner summed up the trade-off honestly: paid more for the Sony than I wanted to, worth every penny. Friend's Hisense from the same year already has backlight issues. Mine still looks brand new. Bottom line, Sony costs more, and that premium buys you real peace of mind. If reliability and a smooth warranty experience matter more to you than saving $300 up front, Sony is the safer long-term bet. So if Sony is this reliable, why isn't it sitting at number 1? Because there's one more brand that beats it in the one category that matters most when things actually go wrong. Number 1, LG OLED for picture quality reliability, Sony for overall peace of mind, and why this is actually a tie. After going through every brand, here's the honest conclusion: there isn't a single clear winner, because LG's OLED line and Sony's full lineup are solving slightly different problems, and both do it better than anyone else. LG OLED wins on picture quality longevity. Because there's no backlight to degrade unevenly, LG's OLED panels simply don't develop the uniformity and clouding problems that eventually show up on every LED-based TV, including Sony's. If you primarily watch in a dark room and care most about how the picture looks 5 years from now, LG OLED is the technically superior long-term choice. Sony wins on consistency across its entire lineup and customer service experience. Every tier of Sony's current lineup, not just their flagship, performs above average in Consumer Reports reliability data. And when something breaks, Sony's warranty process has a stronger track record of actually working the way it's supposed to. The Real-World Distinction Owners Report supports this split. LG OLED owners rarely mention picture degradation, but occasionally mention slower customer service response times. Sony owners across price tiers report fewer failures overall, and when failures happen, faster resolution. One owner who'd tried both put it simply: had a 7-year-old Sony that finally needed a part replaced under an extended warranty with zero hassle. My LG OLED is gorgeous, but I've heard horror stories about their support line. For picture, LG. For peace of mind, Sony. Can't go wrong with either. Bottom line, if your priority is the best possible picture quality that holds up for a decade, buy LG OLED. If your priority is the smoothest possible ownership experience with the lowest odds of ever needing support in the first place, buy Sony. Either way, you're buying into the two brands that have actually earned the reputation everyone assumes all premium brands deserve. What you actually need to remember: 3 things matter more than anything else in this entire ranking. 1. Failure timing is not random. Budget brands failed disproportionately in the 18 to 30-month window right after the standard warranty expires. That's not bad luck. That's a predictable pattern across nearly every brand we covered. 2. A brand's flagship reputation does not automatically apply to its budget lineup. Samsung's Neo QLED and Samsung's Q60 are not the same reliability story. Same with LG's OLED versus their budget LED sets. 3. The price premium for Sony and LG OLED isn't just about picture quality. It's effectively insurance against the exact failures and customer service nightmares that show up most often on this list. The single biggest mistake you can make is choosing a TV based purely on the picture you see in the store. Every TV looks good under showroom lighting on day 1. The brands on this list separate themselves in year 2, year 3, and year 4, and that's the only timeline that actually matters once you've already bought it. If you're shopping right now, budget under $700. Accept some risk and go TCL or Hisense, but consider setting aside repair money. Mid-range around $1,000 to $1,500, Samsung Neo QLED or Sony X90L are both safe. If you can stretch past $1,500 and want the best long-term experience, LG OLED or Sony's higher-end lineup are the 2 brands that have actually earned your trust. Which brand has given you the fewest problems over the years? Let me know in the comments below. And if this helped you avoid an expensive mistake, subscribe, there's a lot more where this came from.